Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans alike, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago, one of the couple, two, three best podcasts around. So sit back, grab yourself a cold one and a Polish sausage, park your keister in the French room, and listen to Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose, as long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we are going to be talking about the Bears' ugliest of ugly wins and who knows, dive into some baseball. But first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You could see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. The season starts in just a couple of short weeks. Don't sleep on it. Head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, today was a doozy.
We won.
We did.
We won. I mean, in this, what it matters most, I guess, the scorebook, the standings, the scoreboard. We won in all of those.
I would imagine if you ask any player that's ever played in the NFL, would you rather have an ugly win or a moral victory? And they're going to tell you ugly win every time.
Right. I mean, what's the old saying from Tony Dungy? You play to win the game.
You play to win the game.
And, I'm glad we won. I don't like losing. I like winning. But, I think I speak for a lot of Bears fans, including you, that we do not feel that this victory brings as many warm, fuzzy feelings as we hoped it would. I think that there's a big elephant in the room. I mean, let's say we're having a victory party and the elephant just came in and kind of started knocking over the tables.
That's what they tend to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, you got to win today thanks to your running game, which, according to NFL research, the 281 yards rushing for the Bears was their most in a game since 1984. Also, no team hit that number in all of 2021. So, as I read that, I am slowly morphing into a big Chicago meatball. I have the urgency to say my friends to everything and everybody. I feel like I need to have a giant Polish sausage and a beer. I feel like I need to have the double-sided cap with bulls on one side and bears on the other side to flip around, shave the bottom of the beard, have a mustache, get some sunglasses. That's how I feel reading that. I mean, it makes me so sick saying this, but it was an old-fashioned ground pound Bears win. And I don't really like saying that in 2022, but at least, like you said, it could have been a loss. It really could have been a loss. But luckily, the Texans made a bigger mistake at the end, and we capitalized on it.
The way I look at it is we are almost a quarter of the way through the season. As crazy as that sounds. And we're still in first place. Tied for first place.
With three other teams.
Two other teams.
Oh, right. Yeah, right. The Lions are 1 and 2. Yeah.
But
there's three of us is what I meant to say.
Yes, there are three of us, but still, we are tied for first place. I mean, granted, our position in first place is probably the least secure, but I don't care. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, enjoy it while it lasts. Though, I mean, I will say over the past few weeks, I think we've seen each team in the division, they have their warts. I mean, I still think Green Bay is going to win this when it's all said and done, but, they scored 14 points today. They squeaked it out playing Tom Brady, who didn't have three of his top receivers. The Lions were all over the Vikings, and then the Lions lioned and the Vikings won. But, the Vikings defense the past few weeks has not particularly looked very good. And while I think the Lions are on a really good track right now, their offense can score. Even with Jared Goff, their offense could score, but they're clearly not at that point yet where they're going to be a legitimate Super Bowl contender. So you're in a division right now that isn't really, wouldn't call it a powerhouse. I'm sure the Packers will really put it together down the stretch, but right now you're not looking at one team like, oh my God, this is surefire going to win the Super Bowl. But with that said, if you had to look at all four teams, you think, wow, the biggest wart that stands out right now is the Bears quarterback play so far in 2022. And you hope it gets better, because for the first time, I'm really legitimately worried about our quarterback situation. Even after last year, when Justin Fields came in and things looked ugly, I'm like, okay, this system is not very good. Wait till he gets coaching and, a system in place. And you didn't expect him to go off the ground running, but I'm a little concerned. And my attitude has changed a little bit on how I view this situation. Going to be completely honest.
I get it. I completely get it. Basically this game, the frame that you view it in is going to sort of depend on how you view this season as a whole. And, if you were a fan was like, hey, listen, they're going to suck. Then when you watch these games, you're like, okay, they suck. Like I thought they would, but at least we're getting the wins. If you were somebody going into this game, but like, you know what, I just want to see the young players get better. You look at it as in one perspective, but you're right. I mean, we're seeing some young players get time in. I thought for the most part, the young corners did all right. I mean, honestly, Kyler Gordon was probably the worst of the young corners out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw Jaquan Brisker look good.
Mm-hmm.
We saw the defense, the young Dominic Robinson look good. We saw Braxton Jones look all right. Tevin Jenkins looked pretty good. Like you're seeing the young players start to come into their own. But the most important of the young players that we need to get better, as you said, is Justin Fields. And I think he's got a confidence issue.
I think so too. Just watching him take a snap and just watching him hold the ball. He looks frightened. He looks jumpy. The body language just doesn't look right.
You're right.
There's something in his head. And you know what? I think that it makes things worse when you start to see the conservative scared play calling. What was the one drive where things kind of started to go, downhill and it was run, 3 and out and the crowd started booing?
Yeah.
Maybe it's getting into his head more than he'd like to admit.
Yeah. It's getting into Getsy's head. It's getting into Justin Fields' head. And I think I'm seeing a lot of fans on Twitter call for just let him air it out. Just let him air it out. And I don't know if that's the right answer either, because if he starts throwing a bunch of picks or is getting sacked a whole bunch, I don't think that's helping him. But I think there are things that you can do to build confidence. We saw it with Trubisky. We've seen it early on with Justin Fields. Is call some design quarterback run plays or let him roll out. And if he sees a lane, tell him to run. If when we see him break off a big run, his confidence builds a little bit. And I think we need to do things to get his confidence early. Don't start off the game with 3 and outs or him getting sacked. Is bubble screens, quarterback, design quarterback runs, roll him out, line him up under center. Stop with so much shotgun snapping. Do things that are going to make him confident and successful. So when you need him to come out and drive the 90 yards down the field in a minute and a half, he's not gun shy. Like that's what we need to do. We don't need to see Justin Fields at peak, whatever his ceiling is. We don't need to see that week 3 of his second year. And to expect that is silly, but we're not doing him any favors. He's a second-year player in a bad offense without really good weapons and a young offensive line that's still figuring things out. And he gets a little jittery in the pocket. We have to do things to build his confidence. And that is what the coaching staff needs to do. It starts with Luke Getsy, but it goes all the way up to Flus. We need to build his confidence. And if you don't do things to give the kid confidence, then he's not going to have it. This kid has been successful everywhere he's gone with minimal adversity. Like, he has just been successful. He's hitting a wall right now where he's not just automatically successful and he doesn't know how to handle it. You've got to help him by building success. It's not just handed to you. You've got to build it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a situation that you look at it where the longer things go the way they are, the even worse they're going to get. And it's going to be to a point where there's going to be no return. You're going to be too far gone. You don't want to get there. I mean, look, we're 3 games into this new regime. And look, we haven't seen progress in 3 games. It's gone backwards. There is plenty time to go. I think that there is still the talent there in Justin Fields, but you're at a point now where you say, you know what, we got to see results at this point, because it gets hard to defend what we're seeing the more we see it. I mean, listen, those 2 interceptions he threw today, 100% on him. They weren't deflected. He wasn't getting hit during the throw. They were both awful throws and awful decisions. And I'll tell you, the reads are really starting to concern me. We saw it last week when Equanimous St. Brown was wide open. We saw it today where he threw into triple coverage when he had Cole Kmet open. That's a problem. I mean, that's just straight up a problem. I don't know what else to say. How do they make that better?
I mean, I honestly, I think it starts with not being so predictable. Is other teams are just jumping routes. They're blanketing receivers because they know there's not going to be a double move. There's not enough time for double moves. We need for him to move the chains and then be able to take the top off the ball. And I think it's really tough that Velus Jones was going to be the guy that takes the cover off or the top off the ball, like the deep guy. And he's just not been there. Darnell, everybody's just doubling up on Darnell Mooney, taking him away.
He had what, one catch today, two?
And
one?
I think two drops. I think one catch or one or two catches, two drops. And we need, I honestly think that we need to keep moving the ball, move the pocket, and make the play. So we're taking away half the field. Roll him right, roll him left, doesn't matter, but stop having plays that are on the other side of the field. Is shrink the field in half. If you're going to roll right, don't have your hot route on the left side. That's setting him up for failure. Let him read less plays, let him roll out, less overthinking, more reacting. And I think you're going to see better results that way. But, I honestly think that this entire coaching staff needs to get together with Ryan Poles and Justin Fields and figure the F out what is going on and what they can do to make it better.
Yeah, I mean, it needs to be. And I get it. There are times where something bad happens on offense where the offensive line has just gotten blown up. We saw multiple times. Who was the one kid on the Texans they got? Something with a P, whatever his name was. Either way, he had an unbelievable day, and he was just eating the offensive line alive. And that obviously doesn't help things. They're clearly better at blocking the run than they are the pass. But, even so, when there are opportunities for Justin Fields to make a play, we saw him make some good moves with his legs today. That first drive, he had that really long run. That was great to see. But, we've seen where he has an opportunity to make a play, and it's just the ball isn't placed right, or he doesn't see the right guy that he needs to get the ball to. And, that's when things kind of blow up. I am really just praying that this can all get fixed. I am, because I still think that his raw talent is very, very, very notable. It's not like he's a slow moving, sludgy guy that doesn't really do much outside of just dropbacks, passing. He can roll out, he can throw on the run, he can run himself. But, you can't be throwing 100 yards or less a game and expecting to win a lot of games in this NFL.
No, I get it. I completely get it.
Here's my position. I said this on Twitter, and I'm sure I'm going to get quote tweeted by this a lot in the future, regardless of what happens. But, I said what I said. I said, you know what? I can't really defend this anymore. And I tried to make it sound like where I'm not necessarily just fully writing it off, but I'm not going to go out of my way and saying, yeah, I know this is going to be successful. My trust has to be earned back. That's my whole thing is, you know what? You want to show me you're a franchise quarterback? I'm going to need to see the results. I'm not going to play any more what if games. I think games, if you do this, this, and this, I got to start seeing results on the field.
Oh, I'm absolutely in agreement with you. And my assertion was, I think that's what you need to do to get to that position where you can show me. But I'm the same. I'm not. I'm not being a hater. I'm not doing any. I'm just saying I'm being realist here. There's a lot of things that are not good right now that need to be fixed quickly and without prejudice. Like we need to see this offense just absolutely get infinitely better.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons I was really frustrated today was just the fact that you can tell the moment they started playing scared. Like it was so obvious. But, in particular, if you had to point to one single moment where I was beyond livid, it wasn't necessarily interceptions. Those I was just, grabbing my gut. But
End of the first half.
yes, that was cowardly. That was embarrassing. I don't care if Mike Glennon is under center. You do not play like that. That is insulting. That is disgusting act of football, what they did at the end of the first half. I was so angry. You don't win like that.
Nope.
You do not win playing it safe. That's all we've seen this godforsaken franchise do. And what's been the result? They haven't been winning. And you are not going to win if you don't show some guts. 3 timeouts in a minute. You should be using every single one of those timeouts. And you know what? If you try and you just don't get it, I would rather they try and not get it than not try at all. There is a difference between trying and not succeeding and just not trying because you're a coward. Disgusting act of football. I'm still angry about it. Even though the Bears won the game, I was so sick. Cowardly.
Yeah, it was really
Shameful. Never let your kids watch that.
Yeah, that's not how you play. And I'm not even going to give Eberflus the benefit of, well, he's a first year head coach, is because that's
a pee-wee football coach wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you don't do that.
It is so disgusting to see that kind of act of football out there.
Yeah.
As you could tell, I feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, it was bad.
When you don't try, you're a coward. Disgusting. Anyway, that's my spiel on that.
No, I don't blame you. I mean, that's same boat here. I watch and I wanted to puke. There was so many times that I'm sitting there watching this game going, why? Like, why the conservative? This is a team. Like, I get that the Texans can't stop the run. So run the ball. But you know what? You either need to just completely just run the ball and only make safe throws. If you would have done that the whole game and been like, okay, that's our game plan and it's working. Like, all right, well, we're running the ball. We're doing good things and there's no issues. Okay. And you're consistent. You're consistently moving the ball. And even if you're not scoring, you're switching field position and forcing the Texans to have to go 80, 90 yards to score, then all right, fine. That's the game plan you chose. But that's not what they did. It's like they want to do one thing and then just completely switch it up and do something different. And that's where it doesn't make sense. On defense, I think the system, I think, is fine, but they just don't have the horses. Like, you watch the defense and you're like, all right, you've got, Kyler Gordon mental gaff that gives up a big play, where I think he just missed what his assignment was. I think he thought he had help and he didn't. But mostly you just don't have the players.
Well, and Jalen Johnson being out was huge.
Yeah, Jalen Johnson being out hurt, and hopefully he's back next week. But Jalen Johnson being out forced you to play a lot of the young defensive backs. Eddie Jackson went out at the end of the game, didn't help anything. You had some linebackers hurt, but you just don't have the horses. The Texans were running the ball the same way that the Packers were running it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Texans' issue is they didn't have the quarterback play to, because you're not going to win most games in the NFL just running the ball.
Right.
You need to make some plays with your quarterback, and Davis Mills is just not that good of a quarterback. And
right. Davis Mills is a placeholder.
Yeah. he just didn't make enough plays. Whereas last week with the Packers, Aaron Rodgers is plenty good enough to make all those plays that he needed to make plus some. And that's the difference in the game is the Bears have the better defense. The Bears, have the better running game, and they should have won the game by a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, look, the defense had its gaps today. And like you said, part of that was you just didn't have the horses. Jalen Johnson being out was big. Hopefully Eddie Jackson's okay because Eddie Jackson has actually looked good. He's actually looked much better. And, I know that it was deflected, but getting that pick in the back of the end zone, that was obviously big. Was that Phil Dorr that deflected that? I don't remember who deflected it, but, Jackson came down with the pick. I think the big story on defense today was Roquan Smith, because not only did he make the game, essentially the game-winning pick, but he had a lot of tackles today, and his tackling looked solid. He had much more in the tank, it looked like, than he did last week against Green Bay, where he just really struggled. He redeemed himself this week. He looked so much better. Really, I think what annoyed me the most was, once again, you had multiple plays where you had them 3rd and long and you gave up massive yardage to not only get the first down, but a lot more. I think my most frustrating moment of that game was when the Bears had a clear fumble and they fell right on it, but it kind of squirted through their legs and the Texans got it back. And then you saw them complete that big 3rd down pass. It didn't end up mattering because, eventually you came up with a stop and then you won the game in the end. But the game essentially could have ended right there on that fumble, and it ended up extending the drive more than it should have.
Yeah, that was really frustrating. I get when you don't see the ball. I get when, wearing the helmet, your visibility is not that great in certain directions. It's like wearing blinders, but he was on top. I don't even remember who it was. The player was on top of the ball. All he had to do was just
fall on it.
He was already on it. All he had to do was just not let it squirt out of between his legs. Like it.
Well, I think he was kind of on his hands and knees, not completely flat on it.
Yeah. Just, collapse your body around it and you have the ball in really good field position. So the fact that, you didn't get that ball was bad. And you're right. Giving up a lot of yardage afterwards is inexcusable.
And it was a lot of plays on 3rd downs too, where they were able to complete a long pass for well over 10 yards. And they didn't really put a whole lot of pressure on David Mills. I mean, there were times they did, but he had some time to throw today. They did not hit him very hard.
No, they didn't. And Robert Quinn was getting held a lot and they were not calling it, which was really frustrating. I get that their one tackle's really good, but refs can't let him hold like that. Also, the Bears had a lot more penalties than they've had in, the first several games, which is really frustrating as well, because they don't have a good enough team to live through all of those penalties. They have to clean that up. It has to be better.
Yeah, I mean, it's much more difficult when it's not preseason and it's regular season, and the lights are truly on where it actually means something. So, it's going to be something that's going to be a work in progress. And, I feel like for some of the bad penalties you saw, I can at least say that I still think it could be worse in terms of discipline. What I don't like seeing is fumbling at the, on the offensive line with, Sam Mustipher and Justin Fields on the first play of the game. It's the little stuff like that, because there were a few flags that I thought were like the illegal contact. I thought that was really ticky tacky. A lot of penalties are, but I wasn't as mad about that kind of thing. But, when your offensive line gets blown up, isn't blocking, or, they're fumbling snaps on the first play of the drive, first play of the game in this case, that's what bothers me a bit more. And we did see a little of both of that today.
You're right. Things that you can't control, like ticky-tack calls, they are what they are. You have to live with them. It's part of the game. But things that are within your control, like false start penalties, holdings, things like that, like those just can't happen. Like they just can't happen. And it's just really frustrating to watch this team be so disciplined to seeing penalties and seeing a lot of missed tackles.
It drove me crazy last week.
Last week was way worse. This week was
much
better.
Worse.
This week was much better, but still,
it still wasn't great.
Yeah, they've got to wrap up. They've got to figure out a way to bring pressure. You mentioned that they're Davis Mills, like they didn't really get to him. If you can't get to him with your front four, you've got to figure out blitzes. I get that this defensive scheme is predicated on being able to get pressure with your front four, but Aaron Rodgers was talking crap about the defensive scheme that we played against them last week. And he was like, I got bored. It was just, they threw a shell defense and that was it. And then you watch what the Buccaneers did to him today, and they shut him down in the second half. And with exotic blitzes and different looks. And I want to see some of that. Like, why can't we do things like that?
Yeah. I would agree with you.
But we don't. Instead we get some shell defense that is where we make them dink and dunk, and instead they run the ball and destroy us that way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree there. And I really hope that in the next few weeks, we could get more pressure on the quarterback. And I know this isn't going to be a big sack defense. An Eberflus team is probably not going to get a lot of sacks. You felt today that every time Mills had time to throw, he was going to find somebody. And more often than not, that was third and long. That stuff drives me crazy. We just saw way too much of it.
Agreed. Absolutely agree. And we're working through these issues early, where we haven't, for the most part, a much easier schedule. We got, the 49ers look like they're still going to be a good team. But and the Packers are definitely good. But we get the Texans, we get the Giants, where we can at least take advantage and get wins while we're working through issues.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of how you want to progress. I know if you have a lighter schedule, people would say, oh, well, you beat so-and-so. It's like, well, there's still an NFL team and you still got to make progress. And if you can make progress by taking advantage of what you have, then you can build something off that. And, unfortunately, you see a lot of issues that really, really, really showed their faces today. But, sometimes you also have to try to take what you saw in a positive light. Unfortunately, it's just the negative is your most important aspect of the game. If Justin Fields threw for 300 yards today and 3 touchdown passes, but it was either too close of a game or you lost because the defense just wasn't very good, that would feel a lot different. It'd be like, all right, we had to win a shootout against the Texans, but you know what? Our quarterback looked good and our defense is really banged up. That's very different. It's harder to take away some of the goods when the most important player on your team and the most important aspect of football, the quarterback, when that is not looking good, it is difficult. But if you want to look at the positives today, the running game is very good. Khalil Herbert was excellent today. The offensive line blocking scheme for the run was great. They had those holes wide open for Herbert, and Herbert was able to not only take advantage of that, but also use his strength and power to advance further than he could. I mean, you saw several runs where he was able to chug forward for more than he should have gotten. That's a really good takeaway. Seeing Roquan Smith ball out today, excellent to see. Really, really good to see. I mean, there are things that you can look at that are good. It's just you need the one thing that needs to be really good to get better. It's all about the perspective of what you saw was good and what wasn't.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. We saw Roquan Smith was, for the first time this season, we've seen him look like Roquan Smith.
And you know what? If that's the spark he needs to play like that forward, then fine.
And he looked excellent today. So
I mean, the pick was awesome. Like, that pick was awesome. How many times have we lost games because of something like that?
Absolutely. And we saw it work in our favor this time. So that was great. What do you have? Like 16 tackles, 2 for loss, an interception. It was a very good game, and that's it. That's what we need from him. That's what he has to have. Basically this defense was built to make him look excellent. And the fact that the first couple games he hasn't, I blame fully on him holding out from training camp.
Yeah, I mean, there was some rust there in the beginning, and maybe last week was a wake-up call for him. He played probably his worst game in several years in Green Bay. And it's like, hey, kick in the pants, need to play better. Can you maybe hope that this is a kick in the pants for Justin Fields? Because Justin Fields, in the postgame, he said, I played like trash. He was very, very hard on himself. And he's taking self-responsibility, self-accountability. That's a good thing. You need to see the results from that, but it's just, at least we're not seeing a bunch of excuses from him. I'm not saying that fixes anything, but it's at least nice to hear some accountability.
Like, I appreciate him taking ownership and saying that he played awful, and I completely appreciate and get that. But my fear is a guy that seems to have shaken confidence going up to the podium and saying, I sucked, doesn't do anything to alleviate my worry about his confidence.
Right. No, I agree.
That's my fear is, if Tom Brady goes up there and goes, I sucked, I've seen enough Tom Brady where I know that it means he's going to go break a bunch of stuff and he's going to come out and play awesome the next week. With Justin Fields, I don't have that track record. I worry that it's going to be him, coming out and playing tentative.
No, I get that. I get it. Well, I mean, we're just going to have to see what happens. I just want to see improvements. I don't have to see, in prime Tom Brady type play, but I just want to see some notable improvement. Because right now you're seeing it going backwards. And that's frustrating. It's frustrating because you invested everything into this. It was the past regime, but you as a franchise, you traded up for this. You saw the promise in him. You believe that the talent is there because it is. But you have to put it together and you need to see the results. And I think he's very easy to root for. Very, very easy to root for. I want him to succeed so bad. He's not an unlikable guy like some of the other quarterbacks we've had here. This is a guy that is easy to root for, easy to get behind, that you truly want to succeed. And I really want to see it. That's why this makes me sad, because I really thought, wow, look at this guy. Look how good he is. Look at the attitude he has. I like this. And when you see it not work so far, it's hard to see. It's sad to see, and you want to see it get better, and you hope that it gets better.
Yeah, it's a bummer. I mean, we had Mitchell Trubisky previously, and Mitch is a nice guy. Like Mitch.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Like you don't look at Mitch and be like, what a D-bag.
No ill feelings towards him personally.
Yeah, he seems like a super nice guy. He had his limitations. Justin Fields is different. He's also very likable, but he's also charismatic. You know, Mitch wasn't that way. Mitch was just like a kind of a choir boy. And, you're just like, seems nice enough, didn't inspire anything. Justin Fields has the same niceness, but inspires you to believe in him. And you're like, okay, I've seen this kid win at every level. I'm excited to have him now. And, to see him have such big struggles is just a tough pill to swallow.
It is. It really is. And I think we all understand that he is trying to make things work in a kitchen where you're trying to make a gourmet meal out of Lunchables and old bologna. Like, we know that he's not exactly playing on a stacked team here where you have 2 or 3 Pro Bowl wide receivers, several Pro Bowl linemen. We know that it's the receiving core is below average. The offensive line is below average. Really, the one thing you have on offense is a running game and a kicker. That's really what you have. And the running game and the kicker, well, guess what? That's what won you the game today. But to have a complete offense, you got to have everything else. And it's harder to develop when you don't have a super weapon or two on your offense. You don't have a George Kittle tight end. You don't have a Cooper Kupp wide receiver. You don't have like an in-prime Kyle Long on your offensive line. We know you don't have that stuff. It's when you see the mistakes being made that you saw today, where it was not, those interceptions were not a tipped ball. He wasn't hit. It was nothing like that. I mean, that's 100% on the quarterback. When you're seeing those kind of mistakes, not making the right read, that's what the quarterback's got to do. They got to make the plays. They got to connect the throws. They got to read the field. And that's what we just got to see get a lot better. It's never going to look great, I don't think, this year, just because you don't have the ammunition. But 100 or less yards ain't going to cut it every week. I mean, that's just the fact of it. No matter who your receivers are, that's just every other team. I say this on every show. Every other team in the NFL can get 300 yards passing. Every other team with whomever.
You're right. And I think at some point this team is going to have to be like, you know what? We're going to put our big boy pants on and make Justin make throws, push this offense, And, that's the beauty of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Was he that good? No, but that man had cojones of steel, and he would just go out there and throw. And that's why you saw some games he just looked like a Hall of Fame quarterback. In other games, he looked like dog turd tacos. And, it's no matter what the system, he was going to go out there and do his best to ball out. And we need Justin Fields to have half of that confidence. If he had half of Fitzmagic's confidence, things could be a lot better. We have to build that confidence. And part of that is just go out there and let him play ball.
Right. Exactly. I really thought that today was going to be a better day for the passing game. So I'm like, all right, you got the Texans coming to town, whatever. But, unfortunately it wasn't. And right now I am watching the 49ers play. And Jimmy Garoppolo is back at quarterback because of the Trey Lance injury. And I see teams like the 49ers succeed and move the ball down. Even when you have a quarterback that isn't a huge athlete in terms of running around like mobile. I mean, he's a good athlete. Jimmy Garoppolo is a good athlete, but he's not going to run like Justin Fields, not going to roll out like Justin Fields. He's a game manager essentially, but the 49ers make things work because they're able to scheme it correctly and they can execute on the small things correctly. We can talk about all the raw talent in the world with a lot of players, but when you don't scheme and execute correctly, then you're not getting anywhere. And unfortunately with the Bears is your highest ceiling player, your quarterback, Justin Fields. You don't yet have a scheme, I don't think, that is going to be successful yet. I mean, Luke Getsy's still working things out, but I think there's a lot of kinks to work out. If you call plays like the RUR right now, you saw it against Green Bay, it's not going to be successful. And if you don't have a quarterback that's going to execute, it's not going to be successful. And if you don't have the ammunition, it's not going to be successful. So you're able to see things work in other teams like the 49ers because you have guys that can execute what they have to do and are just schemed properly. Luke Getsy is a work in progress. He's working on this, and I hope that everything will get better with him, and you hope that Justin Fields get better, because if you're just scheming guys open better and Justin Fields is hitting those throws, then you're looking a hell lot better. It's easy to watch other teams and identify what the Bears are doing wrong. Guys get open in other schemes, even if they're not top tier guys. Game managers like Garoppolo can have success if they're schemed correctly and he's just doing what he has to do.
I just want to put this out into the universe, though. Before we write off Justin Fields, is remember what trash the whole world was calling Tua, and then you give him Tyreek Hill, and suddenly oh man, Tua is great.
Yeah. The Tyreek Hill is a must.
just imagine if we gave a Tyreek Hill type player to Justin Fields. Like, how much better does that make him?
Unfortunately, this year that's not going to happen, which is why
right.
I bring up the whole thing with schemes and just getting guys open and executing on that, because you're not getting that this year.
Yeah. And we did have Ryan Poles say that he is going to be active in trades before the trade deadline. So
Ain't gonna be Tyreek Hill.
he's gonna reach out to the Dolphins. What do you think about trading Tyreek Hill? All right. This is half tongue in cheek here, but there is a team that is 0-3 right now that has a stud wide receiver.
No, stop. Stop. I will come to your house and I will just shove a giant pizza in your face. Like a pie. Like, the Three Stooges pie bit. I'll just take a pizza and just...
But you don't like that idea?
I mean, on the surface, it sounds great, but you know how freaking ridiculous it is.
I know it's super ridiculous.
So don't say it.
Uh, uh, but that would be awesome.
Oh my God. Yeah, that would be awesome. I would kill for that.
It would be nice to have that player play against his old team twice a year.
Yeah, well, one can dream. One can dream.
Um, but I mean, you know what? A win, chalk it up to the win column. And the funny part is I'm sitting here thinking we got the win. And so we had going into the season, the national media said the Bears were going to be the worst pile of trash team in the NFL. And Bears fans, for the most part, saying, well, we're going to suck. We're just not going to suck nearly as hard as you think we're going to suck. And it's turning out that we're sort of both right, that we are a trash team, but we're going to have a much better record than what the national media thought, even though we're still trash.
It's like 2020 when we started 3-0 and 5-2. The record looks great, but if you sat down and watched the Bears, you know that they're not among the elite teams. And I think in a few weeks by this time, we'll probably be 3-3. So we'll be right around 500. I think they're going to lose to the Giants. I think they'll lose to the Vikings, but they'll beat the Washington Commanders.
Commanders
and I
look
think
bad.
Yeah, they're really, really bad.
I mean, here's the thing. Could they beat the Giants? Yeah, the Giants aren't that good. I don't care what their record is. They're not that good. They're a mirage like us. Are we going to beat the Vikings? Assuredly not. We are not going to beat the Vikings. The Commanders, we could. That team is trash. They just got sacked 9 times today. Could we beat the Patriots? I'm going to probably go out on a limb and say no, but I have no idea what their quarterback situation is going to be. Mac Jones got carried off the field today.
I don't even know who their backup is.
I don't either. And they weren't that good with Mac Jones.
No, they weren't.
They're just a well-coached team, but the Patriots are beatable. We'll be playing the Cooper Rush Cowboys. That's that is a potentially winnable game. I'm not saying we are. I'm just saying that reading these.
It's not impossible to win.
Reading these games, the Vikings one is the only one I'm like, they're not winning that. Then we get to the Dolphins. They're not beating the Dolphins. We could beat the Lions. We could also lose to the Lions. Falcons are trash. The Jets are trash. We're going to get thrashed by the Packers. We're going to get thrashed by the Eagles. We're going to get thrashed by the Bills. That is a fact. Then the Lions, the end of the season is really going to suck.
Yeah.
We've got Packers, Eagles, Bills, Lions, Vikings. We could lose all of those.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So, right now is the time to stack some wins up here. Because if you figure some of these things out, you could go, let's see, you're 2-1 now.
Hopefully the quarterback situation, at least make it better.
3-1, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, 6-3. You could, if you figure some things out, be 9-3 going into that Packers game.
Oh God.
It's not going to happen. I'm just saying
there's
a lot of winnable games early on in the season.
Yeah, there are.
And I would rather it be stacked that way is, you know what? Win some games while you're sucking, work through those issues. So when you get to the tough games, look, here's lists of quarterbacks that sucked real hard and that most people wrote off early. Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, what's his name in Buffalo? Like these are
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. I was like Justin Herbert. And I'm like, that's not Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert looks way more Disney Channel than Josh Allen. But those are 3 quarterbacks that we all wrote off as busts at one point, and they're lighting it up now. So I'm not saying that this just gets turned around magically, but if
You just want to see progress.
If we see Justin Fields make significant progress, this team could win a bunch of games. And all I want to see is us. I want to see us play better and not get blown out. I don't want to see any more games like that Packers game.
No. That was ugly.
I just want to see some nice wins. And when we lose, like, all right, the Bucks today. Did you watch the Bucks Packers?
No, we had people coming over, so I missed that.
Okay, so the Buccaneers lost, but it literally came down to
a 2-point conversion.
To a 2-point conversion, and had it not been for a delay of game penalty that was like a 1 second too long, it would have been a tie game going into overtime because they were about to hand it off and there was a wide open hole for Leonard Fournette. But like, all right, a loss like that, it still sucks to lose, but you're like, okay, we were in it till the end. I mean, and those are the kind of losses like where you're like, all right, we were in it to the end.
That'd be nice to see. And you want to see those losses be there in the end if your quarterback is playing better. If you would have lost today, there would have been no redeeming factors. I mean, the main redeeming factor today is the fact that the Bears won the game. If you would have ended up losing that game, imagine dealing with that loss and then having to look at the quarterback play. And you're like, well, you don't really have any positives from the QB play. So at least getting a win today helped, with that pain a bit. But if you're going to lose some close games down the stretch, but you're seeing big progression from Justin Fields, then you won't feel quite as bad.
Right. We either need to see something in the win column or Justin Fields making progress every week. And like, listen, I'm not judging progress on interceptions. Like interceptions are going to happen for young quarterbacks. It's just a fact of life. I want to see him understand this offense. I want to see him make some big throws. I want to see him move down the field, start minimizing 3 and outs. Like, I don't care if they're not scoring, but they're consistently moving the ball and flipping the field. I can live with that. That shows me progress. Then you're like, okay, well, what? Then how do we turn this into points? Where we, how are we moving the ball so well between the 20s, but then when we get down to the red zone, we're settling for field goals. Like, what do we need to do better? Those are things where you're like, okay, I see growth, I see progress, I see today we saw a quarterback that just looked broken and was just making terrible throws.
Yeah, it was rough.
I don't like those throws weren't bad reads. It was bad throws.
Right. Exactly. They just flat weren't accurate throws.
And I guess I would rather have that than bad decision making, because that's harder to fix. I think you fix the confidence and you fix those throws. But that's a tougher thing. They better have a psychologist in there tomorrow.
Do they have to do what they did in like The Natural, where they have that one doctor losing? What is losing? One of those sessions. But I mean, look, whatever gets Justin Fields more confident in playing better.
Yeah, I want to see some hypnotherapy in there.
You will throw better with like the chain clock. Tick,
Oh,
tick, tick.
I definitely want to see. You are getting very sleepy.
It's gonna be like some old German doctor. You are getting very sleepy.
That
There
would
is
be awesome.
there is something interesting you can look at too. One of those swirly circle things. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Get one of those. Just he walks in, sits down, there's a giant swirly circle, just
Yeah. So there's only one undefeated team, and
Dolphins.
there's only one team that has lost every single game.
Vegas. Disappointing, man. Come on, man. Vegas. Be better.
So I wonder if the 72 Dolphins are going to cheer when the 2022 Dolphins lose.
Yeah, right.
Man, but we got the Giants coming up, and oh wait, sorry, I was looking at the NFC. So the Eagles are undefeated as well, and the Giants, but I think the Giants are going to lose.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because they're the Monday night game, I believe.
Yes, they are tomorrow night.
So we won't count them as undefeated in the sense of they've played three games.
Eagles are 3-0. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
Nobody, every other team or every team in the NFC has won a game.
Yeah.
And the Jaguars are first place in the AFC South.
Huh. It's almost like Urban Meyer was the problem. That and there were a few other things, but Urban Meyer was a disaster.
To be fair, that division is trash.
Yes, it is.
I mean,
but still, I still don't think they win it. I still don't think they have the record they are now with Urban Meyer coaching.
So that's facts.
Yeah.
But the Titans traded away their number one receiver, and everyone's like, oh, all we have to do is just stop the run. And the Texans just don't have any horses. And the Colts, like, I don't know what the hell's wrong with the Colts. They just got bad juju going on. And
they just beat the Chiefs today, then.
They did, which is crazy. That's the Colts we expected to see this season. But, the first 2 weeks, they didn't show up. They tied with the Texans, and then they lost last week. Was it Broncos? I don't remember, but they won they lost last week. So, but
they lost the Jaguars last week.
Okay. But you're damn, man. The Colts need to figure this out.
Maybe this win will propel them beating the Chiefs at home.
But if as the Bears, if we lose to the stupid Giants next week, I'm going to be so mad. I hate the Giants.
We haven't won in New Jersey in quite some time.
Like, I don't know why I have this like I get why I hate the Eagles, because I lived in Philadelphia and those fans are terrible. I get why I hate the Packers and the Lions and the Vikings. Those are division rivals. But I have no idea why I hate the Giants.
I liked the Eli Giants. I must admit, when they made those Super Bowl runs, I'm like, you know what? This is fun to watch. But ever since he left, I have no feelings towards the Giants whatsoever.
Yeah, I hate you should guess why I hate the Patriots. But I have no visceral emotion about any team in the AFC South or any team in the AFC North or any team in the AFC West. I hate the Patriots. Really, Patriots are the only team in the AFC I hate. I hate the Eagles, hate the Giants.
Drinking the haterade tonight.
It's true. Hate every other team in the NFC North. And I had no opinion about the Buccaneers, but I hate them now too.
Hate.
Really, I just clink, clink, clink. I'm just mixing up some haterade.
Big time. Wow. You were like, you have this sugar bag and you were just dumping the whole thing in it.
They're like, let me just add a dash of hate. And then I just turn over the whole thing and tap the bottom to make sure I got all the hate out. Into
Ooh, delicious hate.
delicious hate.
Yummy.
But yeah, I mean, that's really the Bears in a nutshell. Is I think we need to see Flus get some stones and be willing to push the ball at the end of halves. I think Getsy's got to be better with calling some of these plays to get Justin Fields confident and in a groove. I mean, Justin Fields today missed a screen power. I mean, a swing pass. Like, that's how bad things were. Is we've got to get that kid in a groove and get him early in a rhythm and not start in a hole. Justin Fields needs to be better, period. Just everything. And that sums up the Chicago Bears is quarterback issues.
Yep.
That summed us up since Jim McMahon.
Unfortunately, it's been my whole life. It's been my whole life.
You know, being honest with you is it's most Bears fans' whole lives.
Yep. Welcome to our reality.
You're like, I remember back when football players had 1-bar helmets. That's when the Bears had okay quarterback play.
From Sid Luckman.
Like, most Bears fans probably don't know what Sid Luckman looks like without a helmet. And
I can't say that I do.
I can't say that I do either. Like, I have a picture of him, what he looks like, but I don't know if that's correct. I'm Googling now. And it is wrong. It is not what I pictured. That guy has. Woof. Yeah. So it's not even the single bar helmet days. It's the leather helmet days. Like since there were face masks on helmets, the Bears haven't had good quarterback play.
Yeah. I was gonna say Sid Luckman was kind of a long time ago.
I mean, late in his career, there was a face mask, but like for pretty much since there was face masks on helmets, the Bears haven't had good quarterback play. that is so sad that it's comical.
Man.
Should we talk a little baseball here?
Yeah.
Oh wait,
saw
quickly, one more thing I want to say is,
was that
David Montgomery got hurt in the game, and it sounds like it is not going to be a long injury. They're saying
which is good.
Day to day, which is very good. I mean, Khalil Herbert did a great job, but I want that 1-2 tandem of Montgomery and Herbert. So
yeah, me too.
Hopefully for a speedy recovery for him.
Absolutely.
Baseball. Last week we talked about the White Sox and we're like, listen, they have slim chance of making the playoffs, but if they ever had a possibility of coming back, they've got the next 3 games are against Cleveland. If they sweep this series, they are right back in this. And there was a sweep, all right, just not the way we were hoping for.
You know what that series was? A public execution.
It really was.
I mean, that wasn't even competitive. Sure, game one went extra innings, 3-3, then 5-5. But when the Guardians absolutely piled on, I mean, people argued right then and there that when that game was won by Cleveland, the division race was over. And it probably was. But when they swept you, you were pretty much 99.9% sure that it was over to 100% it was over. Like, they left no doubt that they were going to win that division. Absolutely no doubt. Because, I mean, really, if Cleveland won one game of that series, they'd still have a 3-game lead in the tiebreaker, which essentially would have been 4. Your hopes are still kind of alive, but looking pretty grim. But the fact that they swept you, that was just flat over. And it looks like they kind of quit after that first game. I hate to say it, but they looked like they were starting to phone it in. And we're sitting here right now. They've lost 6 in a row. Cleveland just won the division today. We were talking about getting back into it 6 days ago. They just won the division today and are up. Not that being up means anything anymore, but are up by double digits. 10 games.
Yep. In a 6-day span, they went from a 4-game lead to a 10-game lead. We were talking about this.
Unreal.
We were talking about this being a, the White Sox coming back into it. And what they had 3 games against Cleveland. You're like, okay, if they win, it was almost assuredly you had to sweep them to get back into this. But even taking 2 of 3 would have been a step in the right direction. You're like, okay, then you have the Tigers, who are an abysmal team. And what do? You lose against the Tigers too.
You got swept by the Tigers, and pretty good too. You got swept pretty good.
This is done. And it's, and I think Tony La Russa's done. They said he's done for the season, but I think he's done forever. I think this is their way of backdooring him, letting him walk away without getting fired. Is he's got health concerns.
I think at the most you'll see him just be a quote advisor to the team, and he'll sit in the owner's box with Jerry.
That's very possible, but I don't think you ever see him manage the White Sox ever again.
Oh, I don't think so either. And I don't think it's necessarily a performance thing, but it's a liability thing. God forbid something happens to him while he's in the dugout next year. The Sox are responsible for that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, he had the pacemaker put in. It's not the craziest of surgeries, but I think all involved are like, Tony, do you really want to manage anymore? No.
I mean, he's almost 80 years old too. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's now it's we get down to it, and where do the White Sox go from here? Where do you go? You look at the White Sox. What's the biggest contract the White Sox have ever given to a player?
Yasmani Grandal.
And Yasmani Grandal is only the 127th highest contract on a per season basis.
Yeah.
So the team's not spending money, but they're going to have to figure out a lot of things. They need another starting pitcher.
I think they need 2.
And they need, do they bring back Elvis Andrus and play second base?
I I know a lot of people want that for the Sox.
I know he wants that for the Sox.
The guy's got a cumulative OPS of below 700 over the past 4 years. I would be really wary about giving a mid-30s guy who kind of had a flash in the pan performance with a team, relying on him being that going forward. I just think that the numbers themselves kind of the entire length of his past 4 years, let's say, not just go beyond the several weeks he's been here, but if you look at what he's done as a whole the past few years, it's just very meh. And he's not getting any younger. I just be careful with that stuff is all I'm trying to say.
Oh, I agree. I just trying to figure out what the heck it is that the White Sox do.
Well, you know what their needs are. You need more starting pitching. You need a left-handed power bat. You need your players to be healthy. Yeah. The thing about Elvis Andrus that he would at least give you is stability in the field, because the White Sox defense is not good. It's just straight up not good. And he would at least give you some solid glove work out there, because that's important. That's very important. We've seen the White Sox lose games because they just simply cannot defend well enough. I mean, that's a fair assessment, right?
That's very fair. And honestly, I mean, another, what's that called? Addition by subtraction is never play Lurie Garcia ever again.
Yeah, I know he's got 2 more years left, but it's not a lot of money. Here's what's concerning about the Sox is if you look at the average salaries for next year, Yoan Moncada, who has been one of the absolute most disappointing aspects of this season, the numbers aren't great. And I don't want to call him lazy, but mentally, I just don't think he's all there at times. I mean, we've seen him just play very la-di-da lackluster at times, and it showed over this past week. I think the talent is all there with him. He has the ability to be that superstar player. And sometimes I feel like it's just kind of being wasted. Like, dude, you've got immense talent. You know, try to focus a little better. I don't know what his personal life is like. I don't know if there's something going on. I don't want to judge him too much as a person, but you've seen the plays in the field by him. There are times where it doesn't look like he's fully invested in it.
I would agree with that. So where are you at? Jose Abreu is going to be a free agent.
That's one of my biggest questions for them. What are they going to do with that situation? He's leading the American League in hits. Just the unfortunate thing with Abreu is that he's not hitting the ball out of the ballpark. None of them are. No one has 20 home runs on that team. And even though you have Eloy Jimenez and Luis Robert, they've been hurt, but still, you have those guys, you have Abreu, you have Moncada, you have Yasmani Grandal. And not one of them has hit 20 or more. You're going to need a power bat. Do you really want to let Jose Abreu go? Even though he's hitting not a lot of home runs this year, that's still such a good bat. But he is also not getting any younger. I know they want to put Vaughn at first, but it's really hard to let go of something like that, you know? It's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing well, and he said he wants to play for the White Sox forever. You can make it happen easily. It's tough. It's like a security blanket.
Right.
I just Tim Anderson has a team option, which obviously they're going to pick up.
Yeah, he'll be back.
Which is like $12 million or something. Josh Harrison has a club option, which I doubt they're going to pick up, especially since it's almost $6 million. AJ Pollock will probably be back because he's got a $10 million player option.
Yeah, he's He's going to be taking that.
Yeah, of course he's taking that.
No, I think I could get more money elsewhere.
Yeah. Oh, this seems silly. I'm helping the team. But I just, I don't know if they're going to pony up the money to be able to fix the holes that they're going to have in the lineup.
See, this is what I'm going to question. Are they going to go out and make some changes, or are they going to rely on the problems fixing themselves? Because here's the thing, and we were guilty of this. You and I, Sean, a lot of people were guilty of this. We said it all year, that we believed that this team, despite their issues, despite the holes, despite the flaws, that they were talented enough to win the AL Central and get to the playoffs. And that's kind of how they treated this. They went into the season thinking that it was just going to work itself out. That they're like, you know what? We don't need to do anything. We're just going to win the division, and then we'll figure it out from there. They just thought they could throw their jerseys onto the field and they were going to win the division. And this is a valuable lesson. You can never just assume anything 100%. You can't. The White Sox learned that lesson. Oh, yeah, well, bad division. They'll go out there. No problem. We're talented enough. Well, guess what? You may be most talented on paper, but Cleveland just won the division by 10 games. On paper only gets you so far. So you can't rely on running it back and just assuming things are going to fix themselves. Things could be better with the same team technically, but you don't want to rely on that. You got to make changes.
And you look at the top four salaries for next year. Lance Lynn, $18.5 million. Yasmani Grandal, $18.25 million. Yohan Moncada, $17 million. Liam Hendricks, $14 million. Like, that's a lot of money for players that you could, other than Liam Hendricks, the other three, you probably would want to jettison almost. It just start from scratch to pick to replace them.
Right, but the thing is that's a lot of money on the books.
That's a lot of money, especially for a team that always cries poor.
And no one is going to take Yasmani Grandal's contract. Nobody.
No. And he only has a limited, or he's got a limited no trade clause. Like, he's not free to just trade away.
Right, exactly. Teams. The only hope you'd have for maybe Moncada is that, well, he's young enough and he's got upside enough. But with the numbers he put up this year, would you want to put a lot of stock into that as a team?
No,
I wouldn't. If it was a few years ago, it'd be completely different. But after the season that he had, that's not what you would want to do.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. But they're gonna need at least one starting pitcher, but probably two.
Yeah, I'd say two, because I don't know if Lucas Giolito is going to be the guy going forward. It's been a rough year for him. We've seen recent starts where he got off to a brutal start but settled down, and the on paper stats look okay. It'll look like a 3-run in 6 innings, but the problem is that teams jump on him early, so you're already in the hole early. That's not what you want from a guy who's supposed to be at the top of your rotation. And, maybe he gets in a better physical shape and he gets better for next year, but look at what the White Sox did in terms of starting pitching going into this year. They didn't make any changes. They didn't have any safety nets. So when Michael Kopech, had to go on the IL because he had issues, you didn't really have much of a backup. You had to promote some other guys that you wouldn't necessarily want to rely on, or you would rely on like a Vince Velasquez. So if you have Giolito struggling and a hurt pitcher that's already down 2 guys, you can't just rely on Dylan Cease and Johnny Cueto to get it done. And, Lance Lynn.
Yeah. And Johnny Cueto is free agent. I believe.
Yes.
I think they only signed him for this year. So you're losing that guy. And what are the odds that you find another gem like that from a trash pile?
Yeah, you don't want to rely on that. I mean, who would have thought that Johnny Cueto would be one of the brightest spots on this White Sox season?
Right. And again, we saw him start fizzling out at the end, and I don't blame him. Like he so outperformed anything we thought he could do.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I didn't think he was going to do much at his age with the recent injuries. Johnny Cueto was once an elite starter, but that was a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's that 2015-ish.
He was really good in 2016, if you remember when we faced him in the playoffs. The Cubs did.
Yep, I remember. I was trying to keep tabs on that. My wife and I had tickets for a comedy show, and I'm trying to watch like live track on my phone what was going on that game.
That was a classic. But yeah, I mean, point being, yeah, Johnny Cueto was awesome for the Sox. Seems like a really easy guy to root for. But if I'm the Sox, I wouldn't be looking to resign him next year at his age with that. What are the odds he does that again at this point? You want to bring in a fresher, more youthful arm. A couple, really. And this is the other problem, too. I think they have their answer in right field in Oscar Colas. There's a lot of upside with that kid. But outside him, how many people do you trust in your farm system to come up right now to either be a part of the team in the immediate future or to be part of a valuable trade? There's not a whole lot there right now.
It sucks to say, is like the White Sox year to just really shine and do something was this year. And they didn't do everything that they needed to do to get to be in a position to win. And because this year I'm starting to look at, man, next year might be tough. Is you've got Dylan Cease, who you're excited about. Lance Lynn, who's on his last legs. Who knows what you're going to get from Lucas Giolito? You get Michael Kopech. So that's 4. But Johnny Cueto, Vince Velasquez are free agents. And then you're going to have to either sign pitchers or rely on some minor leaguers who right now I don't know who that is.
I don't either. Maybe you have to make a trade with one of your big league guys.
I mean, that's a possibility.
Do you think it's possible that they trade one of those core guys just to shake things up a bit? I don't think that.
The problem is you're not going to get who are you going to get value for?
Well, they're not trading Luis Robert, but he's one of the untouchables, I would imagine. But I feel like it would have to be someone like him or Eloy Jimenez. I don't think they're trading Tim Anderson.
Well, they're not trading Tim Anderson. What about Vaughn?
They do not want to trade Vaughn, but I mean,
the problem is if you trade Eloy, what kind of value are you getting?
I think you can get some. I just don't think it's going to be massive. He's been hitting great lately. Like he's been killing the ball, but he's a hitter. He's not a defender. He's a DH. That's what he is. And he's got a history of injuries. That's the other hard thing. I mean, Andrew Vaughn would probably be the most valuable trade piece on your team right now. The White Sox love him so much. I don't think that's going to happen.
So starting pitching, yeah, they got to bring in somebody. And then outfield, Eloy, Luis Robert, AJ Pollock, probably your 3 starters. With maybe at some point Cespedes and Colas might come up, but I think that's where you're at in the outfield. Infield, Vaughn. I mean, Abreu, maybe you bring him back to play first and then put Vaughn at DH. Tim Anderson's your shortstop. Yohan Moncada is probably your third baseman. Who the hell knows who's your second baseman, but maybe it's Elvis Andrus or a Gene Segura type guy. I mean, that's a White Sox move.
Mm-hmm.
Colton Wong, that's another White Sox type move.
Oh, I could see them making a move for Colton Wong. Home run hitter, left side, infielder, good glove. That actually might not be the worst fit for the White Sox.
And then catcher, you are stuck with Yasmani Grandal. Can you upgrade over Sebi Zavala as your backup?
I think you go out and you find a good backup veteran catcher, someone you could rely on being kind of your James McCann that you once had.
Right. I think that's what you need. But man, they're really gonna have to go out there and sign a front end pitcher. I mean, Cassis right now, I guess, what is probably Cease your 1, Kopech your 2, Giolito your 3, and Lance Lynn your 4.
If you're to look right now, probably something like that.
And you don't have a 5, and you would rather have another 1A or a 1B type to go along with Cease. So if you could pick up somebody where Cease, somebody, Kopech, Giolito, and Lynn, okay, maybe you can live with that. But oof. The White Sox are going to have to pony up some money, though.
Yeah, and I think that they need a lot of changes in the front office on how they evaluate talent. I think they have to look at their development, which they're trying to do. They got that project. We'll see if that's successful or not. But, I think there is at least attempt there to help with their development in the minors. But at some point, you got to realize that what you've done hasn't fully worked yet. I mean, we're in year 3 of this window, and there hasn't been a single playoff series win. Year 1 was more understandable. It was a weird season. It was your first time there. That's, fine. And then last year, you won a terrible division, and that Astros exposed you pretty good. And then this year, you couldn't even win the division in a bad division. And I really thought that they were going to be a lot better than this. As a Cub fan, I really thought they were going to be a lot better than this. And I still think that they can salvage this window if they retool correctly, if they make the right changes. And if, they can get some better health luck with their top two guys next year. I mean, Luis Robert hasn't played 100 games in a season yet. That's, it's not great.
That is not great at all.
You need him to be healthy because I think he is one of the most purely talented ball players I've ever seen. But if you're always hurt, then what's it going to do? I mean, I can't believe they let him go so long without putting him on the IL. The fact that they actually had him swinging a bat when he clearly couldn't. Why? It's your most important player right there.
Do you want to hear a stat? This is kind of switching over to the Cubs. The Cubs starters have the third best ERA in all of Major League Baseball since the All-Star break.
Hey, they've pitched well across the board. And you know what? They've pitched well lately, even with Justin Steele being on the sidelines. Marcus Stroman has done his thing. Adrian Sampson has been really good. You got to give these guys credit. Wisniewski, do you see the immaculate inning he threw?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That was something, man. Like 9 pitches, 3 outs. Like that's 3 strikeouts. That's impressive. I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to bring Wade Miley back for next year.
Wade Miley or Drew Smiley?
Wade Miley.
He's been hurt all year. That's a thing.
I know, but it's either one of them could, Smiley or Miley could come back.
Smiley's been really good. And I think Miley's good too. He just hasn't been healthy.
We've seen some good things from Javier Assad. I know he had a tough outing the other day. Keegan Thompson, we've seen some nice things. I don't think his future is a starter.
I think he's in the pen, and I think he's a very good pen asset.
But man, Hayden Wisniewski does look good. I think Justin Steele could be real good. And who knows what the future is with Adbert Alzolay.
Bullpen, I think.
Who knows what happens with Alec Mills?
Yeah, that ship has sailed.
I mean, he's going to be on this team because he's got 3 more years under team control. But I don't think they're going to tender him a contract. Really?
Yeah, no, those days are over.
But I just it's going to be for the Cubs. Who's going to hit the ball?
Yeah, I mean, hey, I really like Nico. Ian Happ has been really good.
Nico, who's back?
Mm-hmm. Had a hit today.
Yeah. Franmil Reyes back?
No,
I don't think so either. It was a nice story at first.
Kind of faded.
It faded quickly. I mean, real quickly.
Yeah.
Nelson Velasquez
back.
Javier Assad
back.
David Bodie.
I'm not so sure. I know he's under contract, but if they make big moves on the infield, there's only so much room.
I mean, his best possibility is the fact that he's pretty versatile. He's a utility man.
And he's hit fairly well recently. I'll give him that.
PJ Higgins.
Yeah. Just his depth.
Zach McKinstry.
No.
I hope not. Manuel Rodriguez.
I'm going to say yes.
I think so. Adrian Sampson,
Mm-hmm.
Rowan Wick,
No.
Patrick Wisdom.
No.
I like Patrick Wisdom. If he's back, it's the real estate that he occupies is too valuable to bring him back.
I agree. I mean, he's hit 25 home runs this year. I like the guy a lot. He's been a nice story, but if they're serious about upgrading, then where he plays is going to be one of the spots they look to upgrade.
Kyle Hendricks back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I don't know what we get from him, but he's back.
Not much.
Michael Hermosillo.
No.
Mark Leiter.
No.
Alfonso Rivas.
Yes, I think at most he's going to be a matchup utility type guy.
Michael Rucker.
No.
Jared Young.
He'll be back in the system. I just don't think he'll get much playing time in the majors.
Drew Smiley.
I was going to say yes a few weeks ago, but it's a mutual option he has. And the way he's pitched well, he might want more money than the Cubs are willing to offer him. So I'm going to just say no because he might get another opportunity elsewhere.
Wade Miley.
No.
Wilson Contreras.
I'm going to say optimistic yes.
Ian Happ.
Yes.
Do you think the Cubs go after Carlos Rodon?
I think it's possible.
I think it's a real possible. Who do you envision as the first baseman for the Cubs next year?
I think it's very possible that if all works out, maybe Matt Mervis is the guy.
Who do you envision as the designated hitter?
Well, I think that if they keep Wilson Contreras, I think he'll get a decent amount of time at DH.
Who is your center fielder opening day?
Opening day, I still go with Ian Happ, I think, though I think we're going to eventually see, hopefully, Brennan Davis.
I'm guessing. Who is your shortstop?
Trey Turner, hopefully.
So that would make Nico Horner your second baseman.
Mm-hmm.
Who's your third baseman?
In my dreams, Xander Bogaerts. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I think it depending on who you sign, Bogaerts, Turner, whatever. It's a matter of do they go to third or they go to the short, and then Nico goes to second because Nico's not going to move to third.
No, he doesn't have that arm.
Right. So that's a tough one.
So if they don't sign somebody to play third, they sign somebody to play short. Do you think there's a possibility that Wisdom is back playing third, or do you think they just move on completely?
I think it's possible. I think they might also explore their options. The thing is that they don't have that third baseman in waiting in the farm system.
They don't.
But maybe a trade for somebody with that farm system. That's the whole thing about this offseason too. Them trading prospects for established assets, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, the problem is as it stands right now, there's not a third baseman available that you're just like, that's the guy. That's the guy we got to get.
You would have to move somebody if you sign a big shortstop.
Right. So But honestly, this offseason is really going to have to be about making those bats much better. And could they trade Marcus Stroman to help bring in another bat?
I don't think they're going to trade Stroman. I don't see it. I mean, you never know. Again, anything could be on the table. I would guess the chances of that are very unlikely.
It's Marcus Stroman has said that he thinks they're very close to being contenders next year. And I think just all the stars have to align for that to happen.
Yeah.
The Cubs have an estimated payroll obligation of $92 million for next year. So they've got money to spend. It's just who's going to, I mean, all right, let's say they bring in a DeGrom. That makes that rotation pretty darn good.
On paper, yes.
Or even a Carlos Rodon. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to pry all of those bats away to make this the team that's going to be competitive. You can't just pitch your whole way into winning, I don't think.
No, I mean, pitching is very important, but you absolutely need the bats and you need power. You need power big time.
Yes. We've seen this team, we've talked about it before, where they went all long ball, scoring all their runs the long ball. And now we're seeing more small ball, no power. I think you need to have a much better mix of these players. Some players that are big power guys that are going to strike out a lot, guys that get on base, line drive hitters. I think you just need a big variety of guys up and down your lineup. I think that's the way to do it. And
yeah, you need balance.
But I just don't know where you're going to get all this balance.
They got a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work to do. And hopefully some of that balance comes from the farm system. Hopefully you get a guy like Matt Mervis come up and mash. Same with Brennan Davis. That's going to be important. Some of these farm assets that are going to come up, that's important, not only for the offense, but for the pitching too. You want to see Jordan Wicks be a factor. You want to see Wisniewski continue to be a factor. That's all going to be very important to this.
I mean, if Brennan Davis comes up sooner rather than later and plays well enough where he's in the conversation for Rookie of the Year, not saying win it, just saying in that conversation at least. So where you're like, he's being an active contributor to this team. Then that makes Ian Happ a much more versatile player that you can move around. DH, first base, possibly, left field. And I think that makes you better. Having the ability to plug a guy in multiple places. But it's really going to come. They need infield, left side of the infield power bats.
Yeah, that's going to be real important going forward. I mean, because Patrick Wisdom is going to finish with the most home runs on the team. And Patrick Wisdom was projected to be the home run leader. but you were hoping to get 30 plus home runs out of him. You're not going to have a 30 home run hitter on this team.
No. You need a power bat. Aaron Judge is not coming this year or next year.
No.
That's just not going to happen. I don't think he leaves the Yankees. But I do hope that he wins the Triple Crown. That would be kind of cool.
I want to see him break the American League record and get the Triple Crown.
As much as I've hated Pujols over the years, Pujols getting 700 home runs, I think is important. And if you could have it in the same year as Judge breaking the American League home run record and winning the Triple Crown, I think that really speaks a lot about this season in baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you had two really important home run chases towards the end, more people wanted to see it. They wanted to see the games televised. They were trying to follow it more. They wanted to see Pujols hit 700. He did. They've been paying attention to Aaron Judge. That's what makes it great. That's what you want to. I mean, it's good for the game of baseball and the people who are interested in it and getting other people interested in it too. Pujols killed the Cubs for many years, but I was glad he got 700 because there have only been 4 people to hit 700 or more home runs. And to say that you were there to witness it, not a lot of people can say that they saw that because it's only happened X amount of times.
I mean, 700 home runs. I don't think any of us saw one of them, and probably not too many of us saw the second one. Most of us probably saw the third one, but yeah, it does not happen very often.
No, it does not.
And Triple Crowns don't happen very often either.
No, they do not.
It was funny. I saw somebody posted on Facebook. They were like, can Judge join? I forgot who they said. It was like 3 other players. And as the list of the only players to ever win the Triple Crown. And I was like, they're missing a whole bunch of people on that list. I'm trying to find it. But they only listed like 3 or 4 other players. I was like, it's pretty rare, but they missed a whole lot of names, including Miguel Cabrera. Yeah, here we go. View post. Only players to win MLB Triple Crown. Will Aaron Judge join them? And they list Mickey Mantle, Ted Williams, Lou Gehrig, Rogers Hornsby, and Ty Cobb.
Seems like a pretty solid group to be.
It's a solid group, but it's
Yeah.
also not the only list of players that ever won the Triple Crown. They missed Miguel Cabrera. They missed Yaz. They missed Frank Robinson, Ducky Medwick. And just because I want to throw a Cub name on there, Heine Zimmerman.
Still pretty good list.
It is still a really good list. I don't think there's a terrible name that's ever won the Triple Crown.
No,
unless you go back to the era where the Triple Crown winner hit 7 home runs.
I hit 7 home runs.
We were playing with a rag ball. But Aaron Judge has a very, very good shot of winning the Triple Crown.
Yes, he does. I mean, every hit he gets, because he's still racking up hits. It just he hasn't hit a home run in a few days.
I mean, like, there's nobody's going to touch him in home runs. Like that's a fact. And I don't think anybody's touching him in RBIs. Let's see. And batting average, let's just go in or AL. He's 1 point behind Xander Bogaerts for the batting average. He's 23 home runs ahead of the next person for home runs. So I don't think that's touching. And RBIs, he's 11 ahead on RBIs. So he's got 2 of the 3 in the bag. It's can he win? Can he get that average? And there's 3 guys that are in that race.
It seems like average is sometimes the trickiest part.
I mean, because most of the time those guys that hit high averages are
slappy hitters.
Slappy hitters that are not going to also hit 60 home runs.
Right.
While we're talking, I'm watching NFL highlights. Did you see the hit that Tua took?
I did.
And did you see him get up and try to run
wobbly? Yeah.
How in the hell was he allowed to go back in that game?
I don't know. I was pretty amazed when that happened live that was able to happen.
Wow. Like, somebody should get fired for that. Like, that's egregious. Like, it's one thing if you just run off on the sideline and it just looked a little glassy eyed and you're like, okay, well, everything checked out. But when the guy is like, looks like he can't even run and he stumbles over, that's bad.
Yeah, no bueno.
But is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
No, I think I've said my piece.
Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether that's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends. It's how we grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And thank you guys so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like Remember, New Yorkers, smoking crack is not legal on planes.
Bears 31 to -7.
The Bears.
Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.